There we go. So you all have the recording box just popped up, right?
Yep.
I see everybody clicking and making it through there. So welcome to the Monday, October 10th, 2023 Consortium of Lake Area Senior Services Board meeting. I am John Slade. I am your meeting facilitator. And I want to briefly welcome you and introduce you all to each other. Lynn, meet Sarah. Sarah, meet Chris. Chris, meet Katie. Katie, meet me. All right. So we have, as I was saying today, a paucity of leadership. Scott is gone immediately from camping to a wedding, and so he is out. Apparently, Kate was in Germany for a while, came back and had to do work, and so she had to schedule work sessions there as well. However, Scott did make the Ramsey County Proclamation of Healthy Aging Month, I'm going to actually see at some point. I looked at the photo. There's an entire photo, and Julia Wolf is there, and Victoria's there, and it's a whole row of people. And then there's this one guy standing in the back.
Yeah, I saw that. He definitely stood out.
Yep. So he was glad to be there. And also I just put down that we have Lunch and Learn coming up on October 18th. So is that 9 days? 9 plus 9 is 18, yes. And we do have State Senator Heather Gustafson, thank you, Chris, is going to be there. State Representative Breanne Curran was not able to make it. She had a commitment as well. And I also noted that, and this, anyway, Breanne is also using she or they pronouns. So that was, I think, kind of new. Anyway, so they wanted to know, hey, let us know what your next thing is, and we'll certainly let Breanne know as well.
Are they just doing an update, or what's the title of the presentation?
So Chris and I have been kicking this one around for almost a year. And the idea was, hey, can we get our state senator and our state rep out to talk about senior issues and to hear from our community? So it's a listening session on their part. And also, Chris, you had a number of smart things to say to Heather's scheduler when he called, or when he was asking. What were you suggesting, folks?
That's something you could email all of us, and then we all feel that.
Yeah, why don't I do that? Because
Okay.
to be honest, I'll have to look for it.
Well, then those of us that are coming, we all sort of can share that, so it doesn't, you don't feel like you have to be the one. Can we invite seniors to it, or are we just doing it into the network?
Heck, no, invite seniors. This is a good one for our general public.
And it's virtual, correct?
It is.
So to get the link, though, who do we let Katie know by a certain date? When is that going out?
The link is on the website.
So it'll be on the website for the meeting right now. It's not
already is. Yep.
Okay, then that'll be easy to tell folks. Thanks.
Yep.
I just found the email, and just quickly, what I'd mentioned is that our members are service providers and advocates, and our issue areas are transportation, housing, long-term care, and also suggested any thoughts she might have on the task force on aging work, staffing challenges, and funding challenges. Other than that, she shouldn't have much need to talk about anything. I mean, there's so much that So I think she'll be prepared to talk to a few of these things, but I think we should be prepared to make points and ask questions too.
Okay. Well, and I'm thinking that in the past, I've sent out like special Lunch and Learn blasts to our email list. But Katie, you've also set up like automated emails too, is that right?
Yep.
When
Okay.
will the one go out for this one, Katie?
I think that we did them. I think there was like one a week before, and then one on the Monday, and then one the day of.
Okay, so
Yeah.
one will go out on Wednesday this week.
Yep.
Yeah, I can double
Perfect.
check her.
I got it. Then there's one on the 17th and one on the 18th. So the day before and then the day of.
Nice. Okay, then that sounds super. I'll let folks
So
know.
I'll aim to have, oh yay, Friday the 13th. I will try and set, well, yes, I will try and send out a special AM lunch and learn invite that can go out, and that folks can also, and I'll put in the, this is a good place for seniors. I mean, Heather's, made it all the way through a session now, but she is relatively new in the position too. So that was the other thought, was that we'd get two recently elected folks
But
in.
my observation in watching Heather is she sure doesn't act like a novice. She is
Right.
really good.
Yeah.
She really knows what she's doing.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. So I'll do that.
Do
and
we
then-
have just like a short little blurb to put in the scheduled
Yeah.
email blasts? I can put that in.
You mean like an intro for her? Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Usually we have like class hosts lunch and learns. This month it will be about X, Y, and Z or whatever.
I can go ahead and draft something if that's okay. And just
Sure.
pick and choose what you want, and I'll give you a little background on her too.
Sounds good.
So Chris, how about for that lunch and learn, I'll do like big broad intro stuff, and then you can introduce Heather. I'll say, hey, thank you, welcome to the event, and then you can do the here's Heather Gustafson, and
Okay.
she's, I mean, I assume you've got a relationship with her.
No, not actually. I've talked with her aide, so
Okay.
not really, but I've watched her and applauded her. So
Good.
But even if you can set the stage for our time together, I think that'll help the audience
I
and the
will.
participants.
Mhm.
That would be helpful.
Great. So Ellie, I'm glad that out of the 5 different connections that you've been trying, that
Welcome.
welcome. Yep. So I was just doing my quick report. Also, it is the case that one of our board members, Kate Gable, who's not here, is also an employee, and we have to keep aware of the fact that there's employee things she does and board member things she does, and keep that up. She does board member things. That's really nice. We've not seen Michelle Hubbard for a while, or our financials for a while. And so as far as the financial report is done, and this is in part me picking up a little bit for Scott. Scott has routinely been able to make things kind of go on our financial reports. And so I didn't have that. I do know that Kate has her last couple of invoices have not been large ones. There was not a ton of work that she, as our contractor, has done. And that we are still sitting on a couple of foundation, or working through a couple of foundation grants. Thank you to White Bear Lake and Vadnais Heights. And there was a note that the White Bear Lake Foundation report needs to get done, which I've put on the agenda. And I am kind of saying that to highlight it to the co-presidents, as we are the ones that generally do that. And it's pretty routine, but we do need to figure that one out.
Do you know what the balance is right now in our account?
I do not.
Okay.
No. I will try and
Yeah,
see
is
that and send it.
Michelle not, is she just not doing it? John, or excuse me, Scott Kick is now taking that on and Michelle resigned. I mean, no, she did it for a year and then this year didn't continue. But is she still doing something for the role?
She's cashing checks, I believe. And my best answer to that is the Magic 8 Ball reply, Hazy, ask again later.
So
So
there's still, because she's on the account, there she still has some level of capacity. She's just not doing the reports.
mhm, mhm.
Okay, that's good. I'm curious because I won't get on a tangent, but she and I talked at length this in the last 2 weeks. I'm in sort of the board recruitment mode, and I wanted to understand. We didn't talk about that specifically, so I wanted to hear how
Mhm.
what we knew about that. Okay.
Yep. Now, on the other hand, we definitely do have a secretary, Kate Gable. And she is, as I said, off working. The two things, there is both the August agenda, the last August's agenda is available for viewing, and the recording of the board is also available for viewing. We are not she's not actually doing kind of written short written minutes of meetings. We're using the board recordings as the actual meetings on that. She is also settling back in to the Twin Cities vibe after the German vibe. I had a conversation with her. German weddings are really big. The legal ceremony and the religious ceremony are in 2 different days, 2 different dresses, 2 different cakes. The main cake, 27 layers so 9 layers in 3 tiers, and a healthy amount of perhaps an unhealthy consumption of adult beverage.
That
These
sounds
are
like
all-
royalty wedding. That does.
apparently it's German standard.
She
So-
have some, ancestral ties to some important people? That's interesting. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking when you started talking about Germany, I'm like, she went at a good time. I've been over there for Oktoberfest.
Yes. Yep.
Good
I have
time.
not.
Partaking is the time. Awesome.
All right. So anything else on treasurer or secretary issues? The one thing on secretary, we did record the last networking session, which is not typically what we do, but I think because Scott was gone and we hadn't yet, I now have access to Scott's Zoom, so I can now turn off recording. But she did read her book in the last networking session, which is going to make great content. So she's going to clip that out and put it up. So anything else on executive team? Any issues, reports? Nope. All right. So old business action items for discussion. Hey, board member check-ins. How is 2023 ending for folks? Allie, do you want to kick us off with that one? How's your year ending?
Good. We're still up and running. We're still full of programs. We are working on our winter programs right now. I need to have all those done in like 2 weeks. It's all great. We've got a family special event this Friday. Yeah. This point we're just up and running. We have no heat in our building. So it's fantastic. So we're all freezing. Actually, the air conditioning is on, which is even better yet, on full blast. So it's great over here right now. I don't know what my deal is. My personal computer just wouldn't hook on. I usually use that so that I can check on things or whatever, but it wasn't working. So
Those
I
poor
just-
swimmers getting out of the water.
the pool area is cold. Yeah. I ran to go potty and I was like, I feel like I'm in a porta potty. It was so cold. I honestly think it's probably warmer outside than it is
Yeah.
in our
Now,
building.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's all good. We're good.
Good. Chris, check in. You're still on mute.
Sorry about that. We're trying to finalize our plans for the 24th legislative session. And couple of things. Guardianship is going to be a big effort for us. We are just seeing too many examples of guardianship abuse happening, both for people with disabilities as well as elders. So, and it'll also include accountability as well. The Department of Health is looking at some legislation, no written language at this point, so it's all kind of just, here's what we're thinking about. But of course, the governor will finalize all of that. The Task Force on Aging is starting to kind of get its legs under it, I think. So the next meeting is next Tuesday at 10 in the morning and in the Capitol in room 23, if anybody's interested in traipsing over there for that. There's typically about 25 to 30 older folks who come. So, which is a very good thing. And yeah, and then we're going through our strategic planning. So it's important, but oh my goodness, whatever. I'll quit belly aching about that. So that's it.
All right, Katie Everett.
The end of the year is coming quickly. Doing fall programs. Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Ellie, getting all of the winter stuff ready. I am leaving on Thursday to go see my sister in Thailand for a week and a half. So, I'm trying to do all of the fall things and get all of that done in 2 days so that when I come back, I don't regret having left. So I'm busy. But it all will happen. So, yeah, we've got our Scarecrow Trail and Halloween party coming up, and some of our fall sports are wrapping up, basketball starting, all that kind of stuff, and heading into winter. So, it'll be here in plenty of time. My lock screen today on my work computer was a winter scene, and it was very upsetting to me. So I fired Microsoft. But I don't know why they would do such a thing, but yeah, we're hoping for a long fall here to get some more of these activities in. But I'm about to be in 90-degree weather, so.
Good for you. All right, Sarah, who I've already said is well dressed for this weather.
Yes, broke out the sweaters. The end of the year is going great. We just came out of the Age-Friendly Minnesota Conference and Exchange, which we're a technical assistance grantee for Age-Friendly Minnesota. So we were providing technical assistance to community grantees. And I thought it was really well received. And just an FYI, all of the sessions were recorded and are available on the Age-Friendly Minnesota website if you weren't able to attend live. And then we're just kind of gearing up for grant season that usually kind of starts around January. So trying to be proactive about connecting with organizations to support them with technical assistance to apply for those grants to expand capacity to serve older adults and caregivers.
Sarah, can you talk a little bit about the type of technical assistance you're providing?
Absolutely. So in our Elder Care Development Partnership roles, that's myself, Diane Graham-Raff, and our new colleague, Bill Tiedemann. We can support organizations as they apply for grants that are related to serving older adults and caregivers. And so that doesn't look like writing the grant for them, but we can absolutely sit down and meet and do some of that that initial brainstorming about how to align a project with the grants that are available. We can also do editing and reviewing of the written grants once they're written up. And then after the grants are submitted, we can also support through the process of just like reports and just trying to understand all of the little pieces that go along with that, especially for state grants, which tend to be a little bit more cumbersome.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Lynn?
Boy, I feel like I've got a little bit of a Monday morning hangover. We had I worked all weekend. We had our open house up at Lino Lakes. We had over 1,000 people come. And we had, yes, if you build it, they will come. We had, I wish I would have, but it was too many all hands on deck, taken a picture. There was so many seniors and families. There was a line down the entire sidewalk into the second parking lot of people waiting to get in. Like we're talking just a generic open house. So it was just a beautiful scene and just a lot of great energy and obviously being received well into the community and the neighborhood and the area as a whole up there in the Northeast Metro. Because I think, that's sort of been a long time coming. This project started well before COVID and sort of got jolted and halted and as everything just sort of sat there and people wondered and were curious. And so it's good. And so that was all hands on deck for that. I'm also at the same time, all of our wellness classes are in full swing and have waiting lists, and which is great. I mean, that's also the benefit of having a second campus is we've got more individuals that are learning about us and wanting to attach to programs and support them staying safely and healthy in community. And we just put together with our partnership with the Faith Community Nurse Network our 2024 goals. And so when you said 2023 earlier I was like, oh, that's the wrong year. Like I'm already mentally entered into 2024 to the point where like that's my thinking pattern. So as fast as we're kind of ending the quarter in the next couple weeks strong, I think we served way more people than we anticipated. We are hoping to do it all over again next year. So that's what we're planning for anyways. We might try a few new classes here and there. So that's the talk right now.
All right. Well, I am in between I got 4 big meetings at MICA every year. We have a legislative breakfast and a virtual a bus tour. And I have the St. Paul chapter and the Northeast Suburban chapter. I just had the Northeast Suburban chapter virtual bus tour last week. I was feeling good about the 45 people we got on, not the thousands that Lynn's grabbing. But we had a good overview. It looks like Ramsey County is finally going to be able to actually build and open and they don't like calling it a shelter, emergency housing services building. The county has given them money. They figured out a way to overcome Stillwater City Council's opposition to it. Stillwater wanted to buy a hotel on 36 and convert it, and that didn't work. But then the county, Washington County, is like, well, we got a couple acres over here. We have site control, and so everybody is falling over themselves to be in favor of that.
Where
nice.
is the location of that?
Just south between, if you go to the backside of the jail, and look between that and 36, there's a couple of acres right there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be right on 36. Not the best site, but still it's better than nothing. And I'm sure that Scott will be linking it up with a New Tracks bus to get folks into and around there. Let's see. We also, the Community Resource Center in Matamidi at St. Andrews was chugging along great. Habitat has got they sent out to folks in Roseville that are thinking of selling their homes. Hey, sell it to Habitat and we'll rehab it. And they've got 12 homes that they've been able to get in Roseville that way, which is pretty good for Habitat. Let's see, Solid Ground and Beacon Interfaith have Gladstone Crossing that's coming up in Maplewood. And that's going to be a new 50-unit building. 10 units, I think, are designated for long-term homeless folks. And also younger families with kids is the focus on that. And they've got site control. They're still putting together the funding. It takes about 18 months to find all the funding for one of those big buildings. And
So
then,
none of them are senior specific
no,
for the shelter work. I mean, I know that's not the right
Yep.
term.
yep, no, it's all
I
housing.
had seen original talk about the one in Stillwater or whatever they were going for. There may be some capacity specifically for seniors or for the older. That's not in the conversation now.
I'm not aware of it.
Because like even how you just said for children and family, you know, I mean that these seniors then feel like, oh, that's not gonna work for me. So I'm just curious how that has been discussed. Okay, shoot.
Yep.
It's needed. It's big time needed. They're also family orientated. If there's not even a little space for the, you know, whether it be a separate area or whatever, it just doesn't bring them in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then finally, we talked about the Purple People organizing. That's the Pro Purple Bus Rapid Transit organizing that Mike is involved with. That they're looking at routing it up White Bear Avenue now and off the Bruce Vento Trail. So starting downtown, cut over on Minnehaha, go up White Bear Avenue to Beam, and then come to Maplewood Mall from the far side. There is still some talk of perhaps going either to Vadnais Heights or Century College after that, but first they have to compare the White Bear Avenue area to the Bruce Vento Trail and convince the feds that it's working. So that's a lengthy work check-in for me. Anyway, my next, the St. Paul bus tour is on the, let's see, is it the 17th? It's the 17th. So I've got a brief period to take a breath. I'm also going to share this. If you hadn't seen this before, this is the photo I was talking about. There's Julia in the middle and our Scott totally making it known on the other side. Also, if you don't know, if you can see, this right here is Megan Redmond, who is the AARP rep, kind of Elise Ruiz's replacement. And I had a one-to-one with her talking about various class and other class activities. And she ended with, well, I'm not saying for sure I'll come on your board, but she didn't rule it out. And she's, I think, looking to get more involved and come on as well. So that's it for Maya and Scott's check-in. Anybody else? Because the next thing on the line is the class priorities document, which I also have ready for sharing. You want me to put it up, Lynn? All right, you were just
Sure.
There we go.
Here comes Chris.
Oh, are you able to see all that, or is there a box over it?
Nope, we can see it.
Okay.
Thank you. So just for some context, late last winter, I believe as a board we had determined that existing statements around advocacy and priorities were well out, at least a 5-year-old set of documented. So we wanted to attempt to maybe bring some current perspectives. And so we created a work group, Sarah, myself, and Christine, and we met a couple times in the spring and then paused for the summer and then came together again. We did send this out at least once to the whole board and got feedback, and then took that feedback as well as added in some additional here at the in the last couple weeks to get what we would consider a pretty up-to-date, concise. Our goal was some concise and some statements that were had some continuity to them, because we were realizing what was there before sort of was evolved, which made sense because it was the first time it was ever done as an organization, was that first statement. And it really was, I think done in the auspices of people are asking us for something, let's just create it from what we already had in different places. It wasn't looked at as a full document. I knew Tara at the time when she was developing it with her small little advocacy committee of sort. So I do know that we looked at it a little differently with intention of how we sit now as an organization, and how we can see it serving. I know, Christine, if you could put some words, you and I kind of hashed out this, we have a mission and we have different areas. It was mission, and then how do we move that into actual like priorities to kind of bring the mission to life so that anything we get involved in, we would reflect it against or filter it through these priorities so that because we often as an organization get asked to do a lot of different things that we need to think, okay, is that within our scope of where we have commitment to as a priority? So we didn't really change. The only one I believe we removed, there was some specific language in the other one about dementia friendly. Because at the time, back in the day, we actually had grant work that we were receiving funding for, and we as an organization did make that a key priority. In recent day, we evolved those thoughts, correct me if I'm wrong, into the community focus, it being the whole priority is for the inclusiveness, does include people with all capabilities. So we didn't want to pull that. We could have pulled out every particular disease, but being that, there's two ways to look at that. Me as a dementia friend and a champion and all that, it's like, oh, are we diluting it? No, I think we're at a time now where we need to know that people with dementia are part of our community in an active way, and we are different now how we sit than 5 years ago. I think it's not a surprise or a need necessarily always to specifically attach that disease. There is still work going on, and now Sarah, if you want to speak a little bit to, there's still opportunities. I actually just got an email yesterday, so I will update you all on that, but not as a separate item. But other things you want to add, Sarah and Christine, to the process or where we were looking to go and how we got to the current?
No, I think that we talked a little bit too about both being able to use each one as a standalone in addition to them, working together. So just depending on what your needs were in the moment, who you're meeting with or chatting with, that this would be flexible enough for that.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. So it was condensed down to 3. We tried to make them succinct in that each one had the same statement at the end, that we want older adults, that's the capacity, the intention overall for each one, but then to specifically, and Sarah really came in on the 12th hour last week. Thank you to Sarah. And and really put you obviously got amazing editing skills, so I can see why your day job is your day job. Because it really it felt like it, I was in this evolved space. Christine had some amazing, the difference between a mission and how do we make it. So we eventually, I think the 3 of us were able to get to this place. I'm just wondering how others are reading this or receiving it, or how do you see it purposeful with what we just discussed it being, so that it serves us for what we want it to serve us for as an organization, I guess is what I'm thinking. A lot of people ask about these kind of things, and now this will be somewhere where it can be accessed. And if I was looking at the organization, this would speak to me about, it's more specifics than just a general mission statement.
Katie, Allie?
I like it. I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm just trying to take it all in.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I agree. It's not necessarily a mission statement, but at the same point, I feel like when someone asks, here's our focus on the housing, here's how we view transportation, and here's how we view our community, and I believe it also then shares what I keep going back to mission statement. Like you said, it is, but it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's where we're going to focus our efforts on, and where we want to focus our efforts on. And so
our actions, where our actions. I love that word effort. So that's, I feel like with you just saying that, kind of coldly reading it, we've accomplished hopefully what we were set out to do.
Yeah, no, I think honestly, I mean, I like mission statements, but I feel like mission statements, when you look at companies who have mission statements, even like we have one here at the city, it's like, whatever. It's just a blank slate. It's here's my 4 or 5 sentence line, and that's what we're going to stick to, but it doesn't actually say what we are going to do or what we're focusing on. And I feel like this does. So I almost feel like understand class better, even though it's everything we've talked about, but it makes exact sense as to how it's been put and the wording that was used. It's almost like it would take it out of my mouth. So thank you. Looks good to me.
Katie?
Struggling with my mute button today. Yeah, I think this is as we're trying to kind of recruit people in and trying to explain like how they fit. I think everybody that kind of has like attended network meetings or people that I would kind of come across in the senior resource field in the matter of any other business I'm doing, those people kind of fit into any of these areas. I don't think it's like leaving any big parts out. The conversation about whether or not we include specifically dementia friendly or any of those things, I think definitely makes sense. It is really hard to have something that, because we list one specific thing, then without listing everything else specifically, it kind of makes people wonder sort of how they fit in the rest of that picture if what they do isn't exactly that. So.
Right. Chris, you were in on the background on this. Anything else you'd want to say right now on it?
I really like how crisp it is. And I think, we've got the headline, so that tells you, okay, there's 3 things that they're really focused on. And I have to say, I loved working with Sarah and who are you, Lynn? She's God. Anyway, on this, and the 3 heads together really, I think, well.
Agreed. We had different skill sets that we could, I think it made it really easy to sort of chime in where we felt like we had capacity. I am wondering about us now. I mean, I don't know how fast we want to get this in, but I wonder if we wouldn't behoove us, and Christine, could we share this with like our presenter? Because is that with Sarah? I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I'm thinking, would that help inform if we need to like this would be a good example of right away we have something out of the gate to say, how would this function for this type of purpose? Would it require us to, kind of as an example of, if this is what we all want it to be, I see it working for this kind of, if we're having someone come in and educate, oftentimes they've hopped on our website or whatever, but if we actually invite them through this as a document to just have.
You said Sarah, did you mean Heather?
Heather, I'm sorry. I know
Yeah.
another Sarah Gustafson, so I always call her Sarah. So
Yeah.
Heather,
And
yes.
I think that's it would be very, very helpful to the senator or anybody who's being asked to come. Then they've got a common understanding.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
The only thing I was thinking as we were sitting here, and this depends on the context of the document, would we want to, we've got class that we don't have like consortium of Lake Area Senior Services, like we sort of just throw the word class around. Would it make sense, especially with what Sarah said, as if it's a standalone, that we should have that somewhere on there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, we
Yes,
better.
I believe we do. We should.
Because too many times people are like, the class of what? Like,
What is class? Yeah.
which class? What class am I missing?
Yeah, I was also just noticing too, we could probably be consistent because I know the headline has periods between
Yes.
yes, and then the rest of it doesn't. So
Yeah,
Yep.
there's 2 ways. I always put the periods because then it gets people to ask and even know that we're not talking about a class, we're talking about actually an acronym.
Well, and I would agree with Sarah that we should probably not use periods throughout. But I understand what you're saying, Lynn, about that. And as I learned it, first year, I put class and in parentheses,
Yeah,
the thing.
that makes sense.
Usually you're supposed to lead with your full name and then you put parentheses class.
Yeah, so what should we do here for this document?
So because the first title has, or the
wonder-
title starts with class, the abbreviation.
Should we go ahead and put the Consortium of Lake Area Senior Services in the title and then just put class below? Or are we doing it the opposite?
I would suggest this one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that looks good.
Because we so often, I mean, nobody says the Metropolitan Interfaith Council on Affordable
Yeah.
Housing. Nobody
Yeah.
says the Consortium of Lake Area Senior Services.
Okay, this does
Unless
flow.
somebody's
It's fine. It does describe itself in the first sentence. So.
Yep. I also am really I agree with y'all about the crispness, the clarity. I like repetition. And so I love that line, the standalone empowering older adults to share and participate in these discussions. I really like that. I do have one point. Community focus and housing focus both include the phrase public and private. And so the transportation focus, I'm suggesting for, I will put this in bold so that you can, or underline it. I'm wondering what you guys would think about adding that phrase to this.
Very good.
I think it's needed. I think it's needed, and it represents the reality right now. We are dealing with public and private. I mean, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good catch.
Is that a thumbs up across? I'm seeing nods. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I also know that that I was at one point hoping that we could take a purple line statement, and the discussions that we had, supporting the bus coming into White Bear. And it was like, oh, it's a little bit of a bridge too far, but I want to leave the garage door open that we could perhaps in the future drive that bus rapid transit into it. So anyway, and I will say again, I don't love the word empower, but it reads really well here as well. So I see Sarah laughing or smiling. Sarah, did you have a?
Oh no, I just, we all have those words and things
Mhm.
that we either use a lot or never use because they're not our favorites, and it's just fun to hear what people's preferences are.
So with that one addition and a couple of little tweaks, I think that we have a draft and we have a quorum and we sent it out beforehand. I will entertain a motion to adopt this as our key priorities.
I
Is anybody-
second it.
All right. Now, in parliamentary procedure, you then go into discussion. So all of the stuff that we did beforehand is anyway. I will also say that it used to be we had 4 priorities and 4 lunch and learns, and it was a nice matchup, but I'm not actually worried about that. Any other discussion on this before we give it a go? All right, all in favor, say aye or thumbs up.
Aye.
Hands. All right, great. Yay, we've adopted it.
Nice job, work group.
Yay. So,
Hey, Lynn,
Wow.
will you send, will you send that final draft around to, or approve?
John,
copy?
you switched it on yours. Do you want to be the one to send it out to everybody?
I did, and I will.
Okay, thank you. And then
And as a
where,
matter
and
of
then
fact,
where does it
do you-
actually go? Then does Kate, or is this what you were gonna say? Kate puts it on the website. Chris gets it so she can share it with Heather.
Thank you.
I'm just taking the time to make this.
Maybe is that part of the discussion, and we maybe that's the thing. Then where does it go on the side? I don't even remember where it was before. Like I don't even know if it was attached to something. I should have looked before this meeting. Was it?
So I'm looking at our website and there's right on the homepage in the middle, it has a little box that says our mission. And then there's one that says what we do. So I feel like we could maybe just swap.
So is what if there was this, I mean, this was an actual document before, so is there an old document in there that says these are our whatever? It was called, oh here, I printed it. It was called Advocacy. Class adopted the following statement in 2019 or whatever. So that's the header on. Do you see anything like that? And then it had transportation, affordable housing, dementia. I'm just wondering if, well, obviously, Kate will know where it was, hopefully, but do we need to make a decision on where it goes, I guess is all my thought. Okay.
Everywhere, anywhere. Kate will,
We all should have it as board too, especially as we enter, I don't even know what the agenda, what's next, but as we enter recruitment slash, I don't want to panic anybody with that number, but, or with that name, that word recruitment always, but we all should
Yeah.
be thinking about who do we know that might want to join us, or I tried to get people, I really worked hard to get people to come to this meeting, because if you get them to the October meeting to vet it, that's most people want to attend a meeting before they commit to joining a board. And it just, the people I talked to, just, it wasn't happening. So I don't know if anyone else has had some dialogue. I know we talked about it at the last meeting, kind of trying to start to open those doors and, yeah, so whatever's next for
well,
discussion.
the two are discuss board recruitment and then look at the 2024 schedule. So let's just continue on the board recruitment point. Let's see, Georgia Fort has been said a bunch of times that she really, really loves us and likes.
You mean Georgia Afton?
Georgia Afton? Yeah, Georgia Fort is a news producer here in
You
town.
just did what I did earlier.
I
totally
did. I
used
just
a whole
mixed up
different
the
name.
Georgias. Yep. And so Georgia Afton, and then yeah, the as I said, I was talking to Megan Redmond as well. I'm wondering, I feel like we've got kind of, two advocates, 3 government types, and Lynn, that we need more folks in kind of the service provision area.
Yeah, and Georgia's with the gosh, it's not Little Brothers anymore. It's Friends and Company.
Yep,
Have you talked to her in recent weeks at all?
I have not.
Okay, I will be seeing her this weekend. I guess all I'm thinking is if you want, I mean, unless you had like an ongoing dialogue, I can happily talk to her, but I'd love to use the new information, the new advocate,
Yes.
the new.
Oh, and the other thing about the new thing is, this is our card. And you could totally flip
Yeah.
it over and put those 3 statements because they're so concise. And were you all kind of indicating Sarah's in part responsible for that?
Totally. I'm sorry we've outed your skill set, but it's what it is.
Yep. So,
Thank you for that.
She was like the teacher in the group, like, let's just wrap this up with a bow.
yep. There's a phrase in one of my groups, brevity with impact. And it's like, yes.
Bringing it home.
So, who is at Muller Memorial?
Mueller is,
Mueller, what?
I can see her face, but I can't think of her name.
Yep.
Taylor.
Taylor,
yeah.
Taelor, Taylor.
Not Taylor Swift.
No, Taylor at Muller.
John, do you know offhand, I'm looking through our Google Drive, somewhere we have like the member list and that thing where everyone checked off what they were interested in. Anyone know where that list is?
Yes, I have it.
Oh, Lynn.
You mean from when we met in person?
Um,
I have it
yes.
literally, I have it on a clipboard. For some reason, I'm the one that walked out of there with that. I don't know why.
'Cause
But
we knew you'd be responsible and put it in a spot where you'd find it.
yes, that's why. No, but what I know why, because I'm also the one that requested it for that day, because I was like, let's see where people. I was curious where people. Nobody changed any. Is that your question? Did anybody? Yeah, we've got.
Well, I was just wondering if there's anybody who's on there that might want
right.
to get more involved, or if there's somebody with what they picked that we could.
Right. So we
There's-
mentioned Georgia, we mentioned Taylor. Taylor for sure. I don't know her. Does anyone else know her?
I do. Well,
Okay.
I ran into her at the Costco parking lot, and also she is on the board of the East Side Area Business Association, which is my main partner in the Purple People Bus Rapid Transit. And so I just saw her at the gala. I will make another Taylor ask.
That would be great. I know she's really involved with White Bear Chamber, things like that, but that we could really benefit from her. And I can reach out to Georgia.
Mhm.
Just okay, let's see other people on this list. We've got what
Who's the
about
fellow with the
somebody?
great mustache?
Yeah, who's that guy?
Shows up.
Oh, he does
Tom?
the,
Tom
Oh,
Yeah.
Tom
Osterdyke or
yes, he does insurance.
he came to the in person. He's come to a lot of our networking things.
He does our I've got him doing our Medicare stuff.
Is
Oh,
that
you do? Okay.
Mhm.
could you talk to him then, Ally?
You
Okay.
can. I have a brand new possible candidate that we could sucker in. He's
Nice.
brand new, he's in the field. He's from Freedom Home Care.
Mm-hmm.
They came to a meeting. His name is Chad. I told him all about class when he came to a quad thing that we do, chamber. And so I was trying to sucker him in there, but I can reach back out to him and see if he's interested in entering the board. Like, you know nothing about us, but just come be part of our board.
Yep.
That's kind of what
Uh,
Katie did to me.
He
Well,
just
right, or he can hop online or look at, does he want to come? I think,
He-
do we have another meeting? We don't have any more meetings until
He is
December. We have a
they're
December.
brand new to the community. And he'd already, when he reached out, I had told him about class. Then he reached back to me and said he's looked up class. It sounds like something he'd want to be a part of. Yeah, he just reached out, like, I think we were at the conference, so I haven't emailed him back yet. But I
he's
can reach out
joined.
to
Get
him
yeah.
again.
If he comes
Okay.
to the education, then he'll kind of see like what do we maybe get him to
Right.
come on the 18th and then know that December is our next board meeting, right? Am I?
We have a December
Okay.
4th board meeting. Yes, we do.
So
Um,
what
we just want these people to be regular board members like me, right? Like, we're not asking them to do it. I just want to make sure that when I'm selling
Yeah.
it to them, I'm
I
selling
don't
it
think we
correctly.
can ask people to step into some of those. I mean, we need a treasurer if somebody loves being a treasurer, but you know what? We don't want somebody who hasn't even been part of the organization to
Right.
To have the bank account.
come on in.
Here you go. Here's the
Here's
key.
our
You know
bank.
what? Maybe that would be something. I'll mention it to Tom and see what Tom says. He's
Yep.
been a part of class for a while.
Yep.
I mean, he's, all
That
right,
could
I'll
be a
mention
good
it to
fit.
Tom.
That could be a good fit.
Okay.
I mean that or Taylor. Taylor told me she was for her condo association and for some, I think for the chamber, she was a treasurer. I mean, she likes that kind of stuff.
I do not. So maybe
So
we
I
should.
don't either, but I'm wondering who said they would talk to Taylor? Was it?
That's me.
So if you couldn't mention that we're actually been without one, she might even feel called to, okay, I can help
Help
you.
us out.
does anybody know, I'm just looking at our member list. Does anybody know Mariette from Hospice of the Midwest? I feel like she's been excited when she attends meetings, but I don't have like any other connection with her other than
Right. I've talked to her, but more just for personal things, not professionally referring or talking.
If you're
You know
willing.
who, yeah. And the other organization that's really tried to keep someone even with staff turnover is the Harbor Estate. They have, right? I mean, the fact that their lead founder attorney came to our last meeting and said, I know that Dawn, used to come to these meetings and she doesn't work with us anymore. And I'm thinking, whoa. So she's like, now I want to get to know you. So that tells me that even if it's not her, if it's whoever replaced Dawn, just so that we've got, anyways.
we
Okay,
do
so-
have a few people from Safe Harbor Estate Law on the member list. So there might be
Do we?
between all of
okay.
them.
I couldn't tell which ones were which. I don't have the organization.
Yeah.
I just have the names. Oh,
So we
Margaret
have-
Barrett. Yeah, that's her name was Margaret.
What was
And
her
then
name?
there's a Gabrielle Schleisman is
No,
Safe
wait, go back.
Harbor.
Who did you say, Lynn? Who did you say?
Margaret Barrett's the founding
Oh,
attorney.
Barrett. Barrett, sorry. I thought you said something else.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know Gabrielle was there too. Oh, you're right. There's several then coming from.
Yeah. Nate Smith is on here. I don't know Nate at all. That does not feel
Oh.
familiar, but
Okay, well, we do have some new. I can tell you about my conversation with Michelle. I really think we need someone from the White Bear Senior Center, senior program, senior advisory committee, anybody. So she and I did talk. It is a pivotal time up here in this community. They are moving the senior center. There's not a lot of in the community. There's a community enrichment for adult education, I guess is how they're housing. There's an actual committee there. So she gave me the names of two people that I should reach out to who sit both on the senior program advisory and right. That was where we were going before. We were trying to get somebody who she's also though their contact, I guess. I mean, they must be sort of really, I mean, as we all just needed persons. So the person who does both is she's on the actual she's on the district, she's on the board, the school district.
Oh, she's a school district member?
Thank you.
Remember?
The language doesn't always come to me. So
Yeah.
so she Neubauer, I know I've heard her, Marge Newmaster, I guess is her name.
Mm.
So and she's a senior herself in the community. I was gonna reach out to her just because I think we've got such a gap up here. But
I am also on that board. I know.
are
Marge.
you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You are? I forgot that. So that's the good news
Yeah.
there.
I am vice chair these days, actually.
You
so.
are. Oh, super. So if we don't get somebody, I won't feel so, because I'm trying to figure out with this transition they're making, how the seniors' voices are. I mean, I'm just a little concerned as a local provider that they're not getting what they want in the news center. I don't, are you part of any of that transition?
Yeah, we've gotten some updates on kind of like the planning for the space. From what I can gather is that they are trying to get a lot of uses out of any facility. That's the way it goes. And they're acknowledging that no one's going to get everything that they want. But they're doing what they can to be creative and get people as much as what they want as they can. And then trying to, think about like if a space is being used for something during the day for youth stuff, can it be used during the evening for senior stuff? And
Vice versa.
yeah, they're taking it all into consideration, but especially when those big dreaming things are happening, everybody has a lot that they want to ask for. And then reality sets in with what actually can happen. So it sounded like they were asking for senior voices in that, and they were
Were they
it was
getting
like
them? Michelle was concerned that their voices aren't getting heard, and they were so pivotal in getting the levy passed, the seniors.
Yeah, I think might be a little bit of a perception thing that like, I don't know. It's hard to know. I haven't been part of those meetings, but I
That's
think
true. Yeah, there's some
when you're
history
getting-
there. Okay.
when you're getting like a new shiny thing and a new high school is going in, and then you're being given part of a building that 3 other programs are also sharing, it probably does feel like you're not getting everything you want. So whether you're being heard and you're just not getting what you want is like, those are different.
Right. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, this is maybe too far in the weeds, but I think as all the school, right, because there was a huge domino going on, as all the other demographics were getting their buildings built sort of first, and this was the last to go, then that is sort of that leftover feeling. But it has shifted a lot since the original change. I mean, they were told they were going to get a gym. I mean, so there's a lot of things that unfortunately now, because of how the other buildings and spaces are getting reallocated and utilized, it's shifting what's left for them. And so it is true. I mean, Michelle clearly was like, some of us just want to stay where we are because it's not even going to be any better. So there's that push going on where it's like, okay, now where are we at with I am concerned that the community promised, nobody knows what you're going to get, but there's a lot of there's just this, there's a lot of things, let's just do it and not talk about it. And I think that's the joy of class and the roles we have. I mean, seniors shouldn't feel like they weren't a part. So I'm glad to hear that you're a part of it. I'm glad to hear that hopefully that there is conversations that seniors aren't just going to be like, oh, great, this is just what we're stuck with. Is there some seniors on that other than Marge?
We had one of the White Bear Lions was on it for like 38 years or something, and we just had we
Retirement.
allowed him to stop serving on that board. So
Allow him to stop serving. I love that language.
he decided that he had done enough. So
Left
Okay.
you off the hook. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
and I
all
think
right.
his replacement is younger. And then most of the other people who are on there are people from the food shelf, people from the YMCA, and the White Bear Y is going through like reorganizational stuff right now. So all of the things that they serve on, they're like, we want to do this, but we don't know who it's going to be yet.
Yeah, there's no specific person. Well, that's an interesting update. I appreciate that because I think what's happening is there is a lot of turnover going on. And in that turnover, if you don't have certain, demographics at the table, then that's just the scope that and so that's why I'm asking these questions, especially as we're looking at, I mean, when Michelle's like, I don't even go to those meetings anymore. I'm like, okay, you guys are the senior program and you're not even going to the meeting. So that just told me, right? I was like, ooh, shall I be joining
So I don't think that Michelle, so John Anderson is
Right.
like oversees that program. He goes. So I don't
That's
think that
good.
it's like Michelle isn't necessarily the one who would attend based on everyone
Yeah.
else's.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what she said. She goes,
So- it sounds like, is it Marge Newmaster? Is that her last name?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we want her
Michelle
on our
thought we
board.
should reach out to her, but I'm just wondering, Katie, do you have a working relationship with her at all or not? Have you done anything with Marge?
I
other
mean,
than-
she would probably recognize my name, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, even to just inform her about class and let her know that, we are this is the end of our year. We start to look for board. So I guess it would behoove us to, as a community person who's clearly involved, to know about how we are sitting in community. Would it just make sense to share with her something? And versus I don't know her at all. Like I've never even.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Katie
Michelle,
and
yeah.
Michelle should reach out to Marge. And
Yeah. I did ask, but Michelle said she would give Katie a heads up, but she doesn't go to the meetings. So
Okay, so the other question I have is this a point or a process where class should say something? Make an advocacy statement about how that process is going?
well, I'm starting to feel, it's why I sort of delved into conversation with Michelle pretty heavily, because I was starting to feel, and I'm the one that has the most history with this, sort of the way it's been and where it was going. And there's some people that are really feeling the bait and switch going on right now, where thanks, you got our vote, but now, we're just sort of waiting and watching all these buildings and not knowing. And so I might be wrong with that, but Michelle sort of weighed in heavily that, if there's opportunity to put voice to it beyond the staff that work at the center, it could be valuable to the community. So it's a good question. I don't know. I'd actually maybe rely on Katie to have, you've got the inside.
So I'm sorry, Katie, is there a board that's dealing with that or a task force that's making
So
recommendations?
I'm on the White Bear Lake has a lot of really long names. So that advisory council is the White Bear Area Schools Community Services and Recreation Advisory Council or something, but it's essentially the community ed board.
And it includes the adult education, which is the senior program.
Right. So it's the like out of school programming. They also include early childhood. They have like a very large umbrella. So they are separate from the school district.
Mhm.
So Marge is on the school board and she's on community ed's advisory board. So on the board that I serve on, we aren't directly responsible for anything for like the school planning and that kind of stuff. We get updates with specifically the facility that the senior center will go in. We were getting some of the kind of like draft designs and just kind of the updates on how those conversations have gone. And their Marge has been very involved with those conversations and some of the senior program stuff that she's involved with. I know that she's had conversations with people and has relayed that during those meetings. And then at the same time, their tech, which is I'm not going to get that acronym right, but it's for the students who are like 18 to 20, but still able to attend school district
Mhm.
programming stuff.
Yeah, the transition programs, yeah.
Yes, Transition Education Center is also going to be in that same facility.
Wow.
So there's been conversations about having, like kitchen spaces and that kind of stuff that both of those programs could use, but then do they want to use them at the same time? That doesn't quite work. Or so there's one of the advisory council members is also really involved with that program. So there've been those conversations have happened at those meetings, but they're not necessarily the planning meetings. The architects aren't there and that kind of stuff at those meetings. It's mostly just discussion
So-
about where the process is. So
When you get an update on the project, who's giving you the update?
Tim Maurer, who is the director over there, he's probably got a really long title too, but
The
Yeah, so
director
he's
of
the
the
head
senior
of
services?
community ed, so he's the senior center's direct link to the district,
Okay,
the board. Like supervises, like former Tara position, but now John position, yeah.
okay.
yeah, so Tim is director of community services and recreation for the school district. So
Okay.
That's a good question. I appreciate. How often do you
Well,
guys
so,
meet?
I mean, we could just say, class, urges the district to remember the electoral support we gave to the referendum and consider the needs of seniors
Mhm.
in the planning process. Just that it.
Yeah. Well, and maybe is there some way it can link back to our priority? Like how was there some language in our priority that because I do like to always bring that to life, right? Like this is just trying to think.
The
and
communities.
just seniors are a small part of my job and they're a small part of what that organization does. So as much as I don't want to be cynical,
Yeah.
we can say this and I strongly believe that they value seniors and everything that goes into that senior program. And there's the same amount of passion behind ECFE, which is also going to be sharing that building, and the tech program. And they're doing what they can to balance the space. So it's just, I haven't gotten the sense that they're like, we're not listening to seniors, you get the back corner and everybody else gets this. They understand that it's a really hard balance and that, the money is what it is and the space is what it is. So not that it's not worth it at all, but I think that
Right.
like, I don't want you to think that they're not already thinking about it.
What I think is going to hit them over the head is the demographics in this community. Because I know a couple of people running right now for different seats at the city, and the number of people that are already in that demographic is so prevalent in this community, and that's, yes, we have a lot of young people, but we also have a disproportionate amount of older people. Nobody's moving out of the community, so that's where I get it. It's not a pupil. You're not getting a dollar amount per head. I get that. So that's more where I'm kind of sensing.
So I see that Chris has to leave in
Yeah.
a couple of minutes. And I want to really quickly bring up this draft of our possible 2024 schedule. And the reason I wanted to do this while Chris is still here. So I took a look at what we've got and looked at possible problems. And I discovered our networking are every other month. Our board meetings are every other month. Our lunch and learns are tucked in between the networking meetings, except they're not every other month. So there's only 4 of them. And the lunch and learn second Wednesday, roughly quarterly. If we matched the dates, there would be a February and an April. And then we did one in August this year. And then October. And I'm wondering There's really just two questions. What do we do about scheduling that lunch and learn? And what do we do about the board meeting that's right up on Easter? Chris, do you have a thought as to whether or not June or August would be better for a lunch and learn?
No, my knee jerk is August might be the better, but I can't say why I think that, other than that's a better month for me, but that, you know.
So any other thoughts on that particular question?
Well, we just did one in August, right? Was that the in-person?
Yep.
Was
No,
no,
we
that was
did-
July. That was July. And that was a networking.
It was
Sorry.
a networking. Yep.
Can
So-
I pose a question that maybe not everyone wants to hear?
Yeah.
So every year we all talk about how busy we are and how much we have going on, and then we have this huge slate of events that we also want to do. Is there a possibility of combining the network and lunch and learn meetings so that maybe instead of March networking, we do a March lunch and learn and just swap in? We do either a networking or a lunch and learn and not try to do all of it.
Good idea.
Yeah, I think having our education's been pretty light on participation.
Well, so the suggestion is actually to, you're looking maybe at the first lunch and learn go with the networking. Is that,
Yeah, either like a combined or instead of, just so that we don't have, instead of organizing, what is that, 10 events, we
Yeah.
do 6. I think
Yeah.
especially when we can't get anyone to volunteer to help with anything, still
Right.
putting on 6 things for them to attend seems
A
great.
lot.
And if we can start getting more participation, then we can do more. But I think it's fair to come back to our membership and say, like, we can't do all of that.
so,
I've
see,
gotta-
Chris,
I gotta go. So,
Yep.
so. sorry.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye, Chris. Thank you.
Bye, Chris.
and I would wonder if we were to pull, 2 of the lunch and learns, and kind of or change 2 of our networking sessions to be, networking with a cause, or, to kind of beef them up. And I'm gonna just throw out that and that,
Yeah.
and then we strike this one, and let's see, and actually, maybe if we went with a June and an August lunch and learn.
I know it's hard to get people in the summer though.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm for totally just plumping them in the summer.
Okay.
And I was going to add that June 12th date, not all schools, but a lot of schools end right around then. And so I think that we could anticipate a lot of people either time off or just in transition.
I would vote for the August over the June myself. Yeah, for
Okay.
that reason. A lot of transition going on that first 2 weeks.
Okay.
Um,
Go on.
Well, so what I hear, I'm just reflecting back. So we did a year ago say we were going to introduce these lunch and learns. And in the reflection, both in capacity and I'm thinking of the way that they were attended, I guess. I don't mean to say nobody came to them, but if we were, it wouldn't be, it's not like we have a whole separate grouping of people coming to these lunch and learns. So it does make sense that we'd look at the merger model that Katie's talking about, because it seems like it's a lot of the same audience. So if we were to do networking and do like a combo, I don't think we're then deleting anything, but we're taking off some of the overhead that we all have to do to promote it and organize it.
Well, the lunch and learns also were, hey, what can we do to continue to do things? And what I've got also on here is a number of these. I've got in-person question mark. Julia Wolf said, hey, can we start meeting face to face? She's really tired of Zoom meetings as well. And so I think I think that in-person meetings will generate more heat and more interest. And so that,
Networking, yeah, networking. I hear you on that. I think we
Yeah.
talked about networking, but not board meetings, because board meetings are hard on a Monday afternoon to get together.
well, Julia was voting for
Together.
together.
Yeah.
So what I would like to do is take off June and say August 14th is our tentative date, even though we're not necessarily even 100% sure that we want to do 4. I also want to take a look at this, the board meeting April 1st, the day after Easter. And so I would suggest we bump it to April 8th instead.
Yeah, I would too. We don't work that day. So we're not,
Okay.
I mean, I'm probably the only organization that doesn't work that day, but
Anybody got a problem with that? No, okay. And
If
so,
that's April 8th, then that lunch and learn is April 10th.
yep, that's wow, I can't spell it all.
I like that.
a
Yeah.
coin select. A coin
Yeah.
select. So are we starting to do this and then like firm it up the next time we meet, or you want to have this
That's-
already started?
No, I think that we are starting this and we'll firm it up next time. That's my
And
suggestion.
you did make the comment that before we had 4 pillars that lined up with 4
Yep.
lunch and learns, and we went down to 3 things. So
Yep.
natural follow there, I think. But-
Okay,
I also like this year we didn't have 4 lunch and learns that each aligned with those topics either.
Right,
So
right. We
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know that going forward, I mean, that was our first launch year. And then of course that first launch year turned into 3 because of COVID. We just kept it going.
Mhm, mhm.
We didn't have a group of people working on the education committee.
All right. I feel that we've got this further. And we've got a good kind of question to bring to folks who perhaps weren't here, which is, do we want to cut lunch and learns and then I think put more energy into, some in-person networking meetings.
Yeah. Well,
what
right.
if we
Even if there's-
did,
Go ahead.
Katie?
I was just gonna say, what if we, for the in-person ones, to make it more worth the while of people traveling, if we incorporated like the education part of that, have like a mini program involved that incentivizes people to come?
That's a good idea.
I think that's a really good idea, and it meets sort of where things are trending professionally, because those of us that need to get CUs and all that, and now I can only speak for the social work profession, but now we're back to, all of them can't be virtual. We have to go back to some in person. So that will trend as a professional organization. We would want to represent some of that. I mean, not that we're into getting CUs and everything, but if people were coming and going to submit it for anything, some of this needs to be in person. I'm hearing more and more from people that they're looking for in-person opportunities. For that reason, I guess, is all I'm proposing.
Okay.
Are there any like particular topics that we could do that would like facilitate that for people?
Yep.
Or is it just like,
Anytime you offer ethics. Because we're all required to get
True.
2 ethics. Is it, Sarah? I can't remember.
It's 2. Mhm.
2. So that's what we just did for, it wasn't our open house, but our professional open house. And we drew 45 people because we knew people needed that. So those are, I mean, I don't know if we're the organization to be doing that, but that one always draws people.
well, I
Alright.
feel like any sort of like member education thing is
Yeah.
appropriate. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Kind of like building our
Well, look at
the
us. We have many of us.
impact.
I mean, look at the skill set we have amongst, I mean, the things that we could even deliver just from our current, we don't even need to pull somebody from outside of the organization. I mean, we've got, I mean, it's nice, but it expands, but we've got a lot within. When you just went through that list of people on this, I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of these people are really connected to different things that we would benefit from hearing. A lot of members have things to
All right,
we have a diverse membership, I guess is what I'm saying. It's great.
good.
Awesome.
We also have a networking meeting on November 8th. I am not aware, oh wait. Oh, it's November 6th in 2024. November 8th coming up. I do not know that we have anybody signed up to do the education, the 10-minute education piece that we've currently got on that. Any thoughts? It's a month, a day less than a month away.
Just remind me, is it normally like education as in generic education, or is it education about an organization?
So what we pitch to members is, hey, if you can talk to us 10 minutes, 5 minutes about the issue that your organization deals with and 5 minutes about your organization itself.
Okay.
So I would say, hey, here's housing in general, and 5 minutes for, hey, I've got a MICA group
Yeah.
meeting every month.
And this time last year, I know Langblomson did it, so I wouldn't, but I was just trying to remember how we contextualize that time.
All
Okay.
right.
You want us to be thinking of places
Think of that. Yep. And I'll send that out. So what?
November is National Family Caregiver Month too.
It is. Yeah, and
Oh.
that's
So
why we
if-
did it that's why we
Mhm.
Langblomson did it last year, and Carolyn came and did a presentation, and it was very well received. We recorded it, and some people they wanted the recording.
Cool.
So I don't know, Sarah, do you have any other organizations that you interface with, whether it be Family Means or I mean,
Well, I was gonna say in like the class region, the other organization would be Family Means.
Right.
Mhm.
We have not, they haven't come into any, I mean, prior to, since you have been.
Yeah.
So I don't know, do you have any, would it be worth you just reaching out, or I mean,
I
any
could
of
check in with them if
Yeah.
people are interested
Yeah,
in
if
it.
they wanted that opportunity to do a 5 and 5, I think that'd be great.
Sure.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anytime we
I
can.
will say that we originally said that it was just for members, so it was people who paid in, got the opportunity to pitch, but like, if we need somebody, we need somebody.
Yeah,
I
and
won't hold us
obviously
to it.
yeah. You're right. I mean, historically, Family Means was, and now they aren't currently, but it's a good point.
Is there a
Sarah?
person?
It was
Oh.
me.
Sarah?
It was you, Sarah.
And then she went on to other grand, amazing things. And is still here with us, so we're happy. Do you think we should hold fast to that? Because I mean, we can think of. I'm looking at the list. We don't currently have anybody from the Alzheimer's. I mean, we don't. Do we have? I don't know that we have anyone else.
I'm totally fine with it. I just wanted
No,
to.
I'm glad you said that though, because I guess clearly. I'm looking. I'm not seeing. Oh, we used to have. I know who we had. But I don't think she's in this position anymore. Red hair. Oh, Sarah, you know who I'm talking about. Jen Rooney.
Yeah.
We had Jen. She's not in that position anymore, though, right?
No, she's not
No.
at Trellis anymore.
Yeah. So Jen had. She did the Dementia Friends, and yeah. So, but she was a member. So I'm just trying to think of anyone that would be in that space. I guess we don't have anybody. ARP has been doing more for caregivers. I don't know if we want to.
Well, and I just put Megan and a question mark. And so I'll reach out to her again since I'm sending her the lunch and learn also and are they officially not currently members or?
No, I have Megan Redmond down as a member.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Well,
she was.
yeah. So do you want to do that first, and then if that doesn't, do you
No,
want
Family Means
Sarah-
first.
Family
Try
Means
Family
first?
Means first,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And that is kind of, and I'm fine with it as a recruitment, get you back involved kind of pitch.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to just sort of
So,
get them back in. And all of us are so, short-staffed since COVID, but it doesn't hurt to. It's good for members to know about all the different, because there's not enough of us doing this caregiver work. So it's good for people to know what's out there.
all right. Hey, it's 3:00. You want to adjourn? Y'all done?
Do we go? We did the whole agenda, didn't we?
We did.
Awesome.
I don't
Oh.
have anything else.
Yeah. Community liaisons, present update. That's it. And there aren't any. You're all just board members. Yay. You're all wonderful board members. Thank you. Wonderful class board members. I think we're done.
Oh, do we motion to adjourn our meetings? Do we do
No,
that? Okay.
We do not.
Okay.
We're officially adjourned. Boom. By
Yay.
decree. By decree.
Take care. We'll see you in December, if not before.
Mhm.
Bye, everybody.
December.
Bye-bye.